On the dot. Friday, 6 o'clock, I'd like to call the Madison City Council regular meeting, May 23rd, to order. And with that, we have Pastor Julius Richardson here from Restoration Church to lead us in the prayer.
Let us pray.
On the dot.
Our Father,
Friday, 6 o'clock, I'd like to call the
Lord in
Madison
heaven,
City Council
may
regular
your
meeting,
name be holy.
May 23rd, to order.
May your kingdom come and may your will be done as it is on earth, as it is in heaven. Lord, we pause just a moment to say thank you for this great city of Madison. And we thank you for our elected officials, the mayor and council, and all the other officials that serve Madison. And Lord, we just like to take a moment and say blessing to them, Lord. Endow them with wisdom as they go about their daily task of serving the city, Lord. We pray for a servant heart in them, Lord. Now we ask tonight, Lord, as we conduct business on behalf of the city, that you will endow them with wisdom to go forward and do the right thing, Lord. Lord, we love you and we praise you, and we speak glory to your name, and hallelujah. And we invite your presence in this place tonight because we want to serve you, and we want to be a city that serves you, Lord. So we love you, we praise you, Lord, and right now, blessing and peace and honor to all of those that serve, Lord. Again, we thank you, we praise you, and we glorify your name that we have such a prosperous city, Lord, and we're even growing faster and faster, and we have some sound minds and sound hearts that are serving our city, Lord, and we thank you for it. In the mighty name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you, Pastor. Would you please join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I get the roll call, please?
Mayor Finley.
Here.
Councilmember Robleski. Here. Councilmember Spears.
Here.
Councilmember Powell.
Here.
Councilmember Shaw.
Here.
Councilmember Bartlett.
Here.
Councilmember Denzine.
Here.
Councilmember Seifert.
Here.
And we have a quorum, so we'll move forward. Are there any amendments or changes to the printed agenda? If not, we'll move forward as printed. Ask for approval of minutes on May 9th.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Is there any discussion? If not, can I get the vote, please?
Councilmember Seifert.
Aye.
Councilmember Powell.
Aye.
Council President Shaw.
Aye.
Councilmember Robleski.
Aye.
Councilmember Spears.
Aye.
Councilmember Bartlett.
Aye.
Councilmember Denzine.
And motion passes. Next is presentation and awards, and we have presentation of the Employees of the Year, presented by Miss Debbie Overcash with the Madison Rotary Club.
Thank you so much. Hi, I'm Debbie Overcash, a member of the Rotary Club of Madison and chair of the Madison Employee of the Year recognition. Tonight, we're celebrating the 22nd year that the Rotary Club of Madison, in cooperation with the City of Madison, has had the privilege of recognizing outstanding Madison public servants. These fine employees have been selected by their supervisors for this very well-deserved recognition. Our appreciation includes a plaque for each individual, inclusion on the perpetual plaque here at City Hall, 4 tickets to the Rotary Club annual fundraiser Dead Parrot Society, a monetary gift from the Rotary Club of Madison, and our entire city's gratitude for a job very well done. We are happy tonight to recognize outstanding employees who represent law enforcement, fire protection, and community services. If Mayor Finley, Council President Shaw, Rotary Club of Madison President Chris McBride, and Vocational Director and President nominee Bill Holtzclaw will join me, we will recognize our 2022 outstanding Madison City employees. Chief Bailey, will you join us as well? Chief Bailey is also a member of the Rotary Club of Madison. Congratulations to Madison Firefighter of the Year, Firefighter Cody White. Cody, will you please join us? The 2022 Madison Fire and Rescue Firefighter of the Year is Cody White. Cody lives in Madison County with Cheyenne and his two children, Lily and Cole. Cody started his career with HIMSY as a paramedic. He worked full-time with HIMSY for 7 years and began service with Madison Fire in February of 2018. He currently serves as a firefighter medic on our A-Shift Truck Company No. 1. He also continues to work in a part-time capacity as a HIMSY medic. When not working for Madison Fire or HIMSY, Cody serves as a volunteer firefighter with the Owens Crossroads Fire Department. In the past 4 years, Cody has become an integral part of his shift and department, and many rely on him to complete both operations and community risk reduction projects. Cody has sought opportunities within the fire department that allow him to assist others in training and development. He is one of the primary EMS trainers for his shift and has supervised the paramedic orientation program for 7 new paramedics on his shift. Cody is also willing and able to take on departmental projects. He is instrumental in the department's community risk reduction program. He is the go-to person for our virtual reality trailer and is a lead operator of the virtual reality simulation. He is also involved in other community-based programs such as teaching CPR and installing smoke detectors in homes. Last year, Cody was selected to be on the department's EMS Transport Research Committee and was a key team member responsible for exploring administrative functions, potential SOPs, and recommending future plans. Lastly, Cody is heavily involved in the Special Operations Division of the Fire Department. He serves as a pilot for the Public Safety Unmanned Aircraft System program and has the lead for the team's remote viewing capability. He also serves as one of 3 SWAT medics. Cody is truly a team player and is a valuable part of our Special Operations Division. Cody is a highly motivated firefighter and medic, strives to excel in all he does. He has a positive attitude and outlook and is a great example of public service. He is a tremendous asset to his shift, the fire department, the city of Madison, and is certainly deserving of Firefighter of the Year 2022. Chief Bailey's quote, "As you heard, Cody is an avid community service. While Cody trains hard with his shift and is an aggressive firefighter, what impresses me the most about Cody is his genuine empathy for our citizens. He is able to wholly connect with our young elementary school students and compassionately care for our senior needs and elderly EMS patients. His empathetic service is most important to those calls in order to calm patients and family members that may be having the worst day of their lives. Congratulations, Cody." We'll have a lot of time for pictures, folks, at the close of the program. Chief Gandy, will you join us, please? Congratulations to Madison Police Officer of the Year, Javin Hill. Jason. Officer Javin Hill is the Madison Police Department's selection for Madison Rotary Club Officer of the Year Award. Officer Hill is extremely dedicated and hardworking law enforcement officer. Officer Hill has exhibited exemplary skill in initial investigation, decision-making, and follow-up. Officer Hill is an excellent leader who serves as a truly professional representative of what a police officer should embody to all officers in his department. Officer Hill is consistently one of the leaders of the police department in self-initiated officer contacts and activity. Officer Hill has truly made the streets of Madison safer by his concerted efforts and proactivity patrol, enforce traffic laws, and conduct investigative stops. This effort is exemplified and clearly defined in the fact that Officer Hill has recovered 37 grams of crystal meth, along with fentanyl, several things that I cannot pronounce here that are bad, people. Officer Hill also has received accolades from the Investigations Division Commander on several occasions for his professional reporting and investigative efforts. Officer Hill has taken a teaching, mentoring, and coaching role to junior officers and newly released officers. Officer Hill has shown the integrity, fortitude, and tact to address officers concerning issues and situations where they are unsure or unclear if they have probable cause to make an arrest in criminal offenses and investigative stops. Officer Hill is a natural leader who truly leads by example and sets the standard. His supervisors consider him to be informal leader of his shift. Officer Hill has been instrumental in implementing an effective positive community policing based on his efforts to establish a personal relationship with the employees and managers of the businesses in his patrol zone. These efforts have established a partnership with his department and the community that has produced stability and trust. Officer Hill also serves as a field training officer and has produced outstanding results in the officers he has trained. His DUI reports are so well written that they were recently selected as the 2020 and 2021 Proofs of Compliance with the CALEA accreditation regarding DUI enforcement. Officer Hill also serves as a senior court security officer for court proceedings and as a bailiff for Madison City Council meetings. Officer Hill was selected and serves on the MPD Core Values Committee and the MPD Branding Committee. Officer Hill was recently selected and will be certified as a CIT officer addressing issues and citizens in mental crisis. Officer Hill strives to consistently provide professional police service to the citizens of Madison. Officer Hill consistently offers viable solutions to improve work processes and procedures. Officer Hill continues to lead the way by showing that his job does not end when the initial report is taken. He is a dedicated team player who strives to be the best that he can be. Sergeant Stephen Reed stated, Officer Hill leads the way and sets the example by showing that every day a dedicated officer can make a difference in the safety and lives of our citizens by striving for and attaining excellence in law enforcement. Congratulations, Davin. So, we are excited that this year everybody was doing such an outstanding job. Mayor Finley had a tough choice on his Employee of the Year, and we have a tie for Employee of the Year this year. 2 outstanding Employees of the Year. Monique, will you please join us up front? Congratulations to Employee of the Year, Mon'nique Milton with Public Works. Mon'nique Milton currently serves as Administrative Assistant to the Public Works Director, and she has been with the City of Madison for 30 years this August. In this nominating email, Kent Smith defined the amount of knowledge in the vast area of topics, along with her dedication to Public Works and to the city as a whole, as Mon'nique's top qualities. Mon'nique is known throughout City Hall for her willingness to help any resident or other department solve issues and problems. Her honesty and integrity through 5 Public Works directors have been foundational for the department, crucial to the city's success. After a recent meeting with Mon'nique and Republic Services concerning Republic's performance, City Administrator Steve Smith said she was factual, on point, and she clearly defined expectations going forward. In watching her represent our city, I had a much clearer understanding of Mon'nique's value each and every day to the City of Madison. We are pleased to present the 2022 Employee of the Year to Mon'nique Milton. Congratulations. And last but certainly not least, congratulations to Employee of the Year, Deputy Chief Brandy Williams. Brandy, will you join us up front? Deputy Fire Chief Brandy Williams is Madison's 2022 Employee of the Year. Brandy started with the City of Madison in 1998, and she has been our Deputy Fire Chief since 2016. In April of 2021, Brandy stepped up as Acting Fire Chief for Chief Bailey during an extended absence, managing not only the normal Madison fire and rescue requirements, but also managing during the height of COVID. Chief Bailey describes Brandy as instrumental to the growth and development of the Madison Fire and Rescue. As our city grows, Madison Fire and Rescue continues to provide citizen services through a strong, continuous improvement model. Chief Williams' diligent work over many of the projects and programs initiated allows us to successfully meet many of our challenges. Just a few of the many examples of programs Brandy has managed include managing the firefighter hiring process, developing the specifications for new fire engines and other apparatus, and also initiating a third-grade workbook program which was implemented in all elementary schools in Madison. This was a project for Brandy's EFO, Executive Fire Officer Program credentials. Additionally, she serves as the president of the North Alabama Fire Chiefs Association and was recently appointed to be the first female commissioner on the Alabama's Firefighters Professional Standards and Education Committee. In these two roles, she helps to keep the fire service in Alabama moving forward. Mayor Finley added, Brandy stepped up immediately, managing the day-to-day management requirements while also focusing on employee safety throughout COVID. We are pleased to award Brandy Williams the 2022 Madison City Employee of the Year. Congratulations. Congratulations to everyone. The residents of Madison, along with Mayor Finley, our City Council, and the Rotary Club of Madison thank these fine individuals for their service to our community and congratulate you all on a job very well done. Please give them another round. The Rotary Club of Madison is happy to host a reception in our 4 honorees' honor when Council President Shaw announces that break. Additional pictures will be taken during the reception. Again, please join me in congratulating and thanking our Superior 2022 honorees.
Thank you, Miss Debbie. We'll take a 15-minute break, and we'll go out in the lobby for some cake and punch and whatever else they have. All right.
I'm so sorry. All the coffee. I do.
Break.
Oh.
All right, our 15-minute break is over.
He deserved
So I
it.
had to go get a whole new cupcake.
That's
And-
You ready to reconvene the meeting?
Let me stop.
I would have saved the rest for, later.
Next is public comments. We don't have anyone signed up, but is there anyone like to address council and mayor tonight?
I know. I promise
Tomorrow.
when it's for Ron.
Tomorrow.
Yep.
Public comments? All right, we'll move to consent agenda and finance committee report.
Finance Committee met last week and reviewed the items on the consent agenda as well as some other items that will appear later in the agenda. With that, I'd like to move to approve the consent agenda items.
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion? If not, can I get the vote, please?
Councilmember Bartlett,
Aye.
Councilmember Spears,
Aye.
Council President Shaw,
Aye.
Councilmember Robleski,
Aye.
Councilmember Powell,
Aye.
Councilmember Denzine,
Aye.
and Councilmember Seifert.
Aye. Motion passes. Next is presentation of reports, and we'll start with the mayor.
And nothing for tonight.
District number 1.
Yes, sir. I have one item for your consideration tonight, and that is Resolution 2022-157-R. And this is a specific job classification change involving the position of herbicide vector and control specialist, and would like to ask your approval for that. HR committee has met and unanimously supports it. Director Towery is here if you have any questions, and Director Smith is here as well if you have any questions. And with that, I move to approve.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion? If not, can I get the vote, please?
Councilmember Robleski,
Aye.
Councilmember Powell, Council President Shaw,
Aye.
Councilmember Spears,
Aye.
Councilmember Bartlett,
Aye.
Councilmember Denzine, Councilmember Seifert.
Aye. Motion passes.
Just a couple items to mention. Want to send out my congratulations as well as other council members will also probably recognize as well. 1,000 students from Bob Jones and James Clemens graduated last Monday. It was a 9-hour ceremony for Councilmember Bartlett, Spears, and I, but very much well worth it, and our future is secure. Want to also mention that the library has a couple of events going on. June 7th, they'll have a career workshop series. That'll be at the Madison Library at 2 p.m. And then also the children's programs have started very aggressively. June 1st, we'll start the summer reading series, Oceans of Possibilities, along with Read Around the Block, a magic show, and our summer movies will start in June, and they'll start with the Robleski family favorite of E.T. So would encourage everyone to go by the library and grab the summer reading information. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. District number 2.
I'd also like to congratulate all of our graduates from Bob Jones and James Clemens. It's always astounding to me, not only the total dollar amount of scholarships that are awarded, but the percentage of scholarships, of students who receive scholarships. It's well over 50% in both schools. And so that is amazing. Also, on the consent agenda, there was a $50 donation giving in memory of Krista Radinsky to the Senior Center. I wanted to note that. And that's all. Thank you.
Very good. District number 3.
Hey, I'd like to thank Public Works. They came out, this is a personal thing, but they did come out. We had a bunch of stumps and stuff out on the road, and there's some stuff that Republic couldn't pick up, and they got on it, and I'd like to thank them for that. Also, the graduates, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago since I graduated. Well, maybe it does. But anyway, good luck to them, and going forward, we do have a great community, so I'm grateful for that. That's all I've got.
Very good. I have one item tonight. I'd like to thank the mayor and the mayor's office for all the work they've done with the governance transmission committee, and I think they've carried the baton as far as they want to carry it at this point, and we're going to ask and appoint Ms. Renee Bartlett to that to kind of move that forward. Other than that, that's all I have. District number 5.
Thank you, Greg, and I look forward to working with the mayor to schedule some public information sessions this summer. And our goal is to share facts and information and answer questions for everyone before we proceed further. And so I'm looking forward to getting to do that, and thank you for the appointment. A couple weeks ago, Councilmember Spears and I attended the ALM Annual Convention, and we, went through, some training sessions that were very valuable. I have to say the highlight for me was hearing Coach Saban speak. Lots of leadership lessons, in his presentation. It was, a lot of fun, good networking, good learning opportunity. So, thank you for letting us attend and representing Madison. Last Thursday, I attended the first Third Thursday in downtown Madison. I have to encourage everyone to go out next month. The next one is going to be on June 16th. The Third Thursday, we're running this for 3 more months. There are downtown vendors that are participating, as well as some visiting vendors and some food trucks, and so it's a great time to support our downtown merchants. And that's it.
Very good. District number
We
6.
could have a birthday cake for the mayor at the next Third Thursday.
Yes, we could.
Ooh.
All right, tonight I'd like to start off with the Madison Police Citizens Advisory Committee. Their meeting is tomorrow night. Instead of in this room, it's going to be in room 130. And it'll be an opportunity for you to meet with the committee members themselves. If there's anything that you want to bring up that you're seeing in the community, it's a good one-on-one time with them to do that. So that's tomorrow night, 6:30 here in this building. The second thing, last Thursday, I had the opportunity to go to the Partnership for Drug-Free Community for their Board of Directors meeting. We support them as a city. Wendy Reeves, she is the executive director. They are just so involved with the thing that's so important, and that is stopping the young ones from becoming drug addicts in the first place. Prevention is the key. We've got so many drugs coming in to the country and stuff. If we can stop a child, an adult, anyone from even getting started, and I love it that that's their emphasis. They do things with children like the youth tobacco and vaping prevention program, the Aussie opioid prevention program, and then they do Today's Youth, Tomorrow's Leaders program. So they're very involved with the young ones. So they do have a website, they have a newsletter, in any way that you want to find out more about them. They also have a recovery resource hub that you can call if you're looking for treatment for anyone. So I thought that was an excellent opportunity to find out more what it is that's going on in this community to help those that are in addiction and to stay away from it. Also, we are in the midst of the registration for the Madison Street Festival. It's open to all those that do crafting, that are artists, food vendors, those that have local businesses that want to have information booths. It's all there. All you have to do is go to our website and register. It's open until middle of July, I believe. So please make yourself aware of those opportunities in the city. Also, I really, really want to thank Public Works for the striping right out here along Hughes. I had so many of my constituents talk about they couldn't see the stripes in the middle of the road, especially when it was night and raining. So I was thrilled, and I wrote Kent as soon as I thought, thanking him for getting that done. And I know the people in our district are very, very happy to see that it's been done. Also, congratulations to the rising generation who graduated and to their parents for all the support that they gave them during all those years of schooling. And it is amazing how many people got scholarships. It's just a tribute to the school system and to the teachers and to the hard work of the students. And that is all I have tonight. Thank you.
Very good. District number 7.
Yeah, a couple things. First one, I want to thank Kent and his crew. I think the sidewalk on Gillespie is, I don't know the percentage, but I think it's close to 100% complete all the way out to County Line Road. I've seen quite a few people walking on that, and just kind of for everybody's edification over the past, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, we've really put a lot more focus on sidewalks and getting more of that throughout the community, so that you can literally from now, you can go from Hughes all the way over to County Line. You have to go through some neighborhoods, but that's part of the intent, is to get people out and about. So we put more focus on that. We've invested in Public Works, and they've been able to bring some of that work in-house where we would have probably paid a small fortune, to go outside, so, really excited about that. And then last thing, I'll congratulate our graduates as well. And, I've had the pleasure of working some of them up at Asbury as part of the youth group, and, bright and talented, young men and women. So looking forward to what they do in the next few years, so that's all I got.
Very good. There are no board or committee appointments tonight, so we'll move into the public hearing. We have one.
Good evening. You have one public hearing before you this evening. It's for ordinance number 2022-108, and we have a couple of slides that will be up in a moment. Not that one. This is an amendment to the zoning ordinance related to parking standards. It went to the Planning Commission in March of this year, and we will eagerly await.
Keep tap dancing.
I thought you
There
were
we
looking at
go.
something that I wasn't seeing. I was kinda hoping
Yeah.
you would keep going
Yeah,
there.
there we go. So just a couple of slides on this. So the city's parking standards, as they exist today, were done in 1999. So a lot has changed since that time in terms of how we travel, how we shop, how we dine. Some of that was accelerated by the pandemic. Some of that's been happening because of e-commerce, and just the way we live our lives. And so these existing standards are really a bit out of sync with what businesses need, what consumers want, and so forth. And we started working on an overhaul of our zoning ordinance a couple of years ago, and we decided to, and that's kind of been put on a back burner as we've worked on some other higher priority projects. We decided, because we keep coming up against this wall of these parking standards, to bring this component forward. One of the other aspects of the standards is that they, for some use categories, they rely on the number of employees for a business or a customer service area. And a lot of times as we're getting a site plan through, we don't know how many employees there's going to be. Sometimes it might be a spec building. We don't even know what the use is going to be. So it becomes almost impossible to fashion how many parking spaces would be really required. So our our consultants for the zoning ordinance actually took a look at our parking standards some months back and made recommendations. And they looked to reduce parking where it made sense, to reduce the amount of required parking. And then they also are recommending the use of a maximum standard. And this is happening across the country. In some cities, they will put in a maximum of surface parking. In other words, you could have more parking, just put it in a structure. We didn't think we're quite ready for that yet. But we do have this component of the idea of putting in a maximum. We've made the maximums very generous because we don't want to render our existing businesses non-conforming. So let's say you had a business where under the new standard you could only have 100 spaces, but they've got 200. Well, we're automatically rendering them non-conforming, which is not our objective. Overall, we think these changes will allow for more efficient use of commercial land. There's no need to overpark a business if we don't need to. I will say every single hotel that's gone in town Madison has said we don't need this much parking, and they're fully occupied, but yet they still have empty spaces in their parking lot. They don't want to have to spend money on that. They could be spending the money on something else. It would make other land available for another business. Having less impervious area, less parking area, helps to reduce stormwater runoff because that area might be developed with landscaping. So there's an environmental benefit there, and obviously it reduces the cost of construction for our businesses, which is what we would like to support. So as part of this analysis, we also reviewed a variety of our recently approved projects. Again, we wanted to make sure we weren't creating a problem and that we were actually effectively addressing a problem, and we think that we did that. As I mentioned, this item did go to the Planning Commission back in March. The slides that I'm sharing with you is information that was in the staff report that went to the Planning Commission and information that we talked about with the Planning Commission. I realize there's a lot of information on here. But what this is summarizing are the primary changes that we made to the parking standards. So, for example, for assisted living and independent living communities, continuing care communities, our current standard is a half parking space per bed. We kept that standard, but a lot of these communities we're seeing now have independent living units. Shepherd at the Range is one of them, where you're going to have elderly folks who are not in assisted living, but they basically have an apartment on campus, and so they're going to have a car. And so we didn't think our existing standard really addressed that, so we're recommending one parking space for each independent living unit to make sure that those facilities have adequate parking. In terms of our industrial standards, currently those are based on number of employees, and almost never do we know how many employees an industrial warehouse is going to have when we're dealing with it at the site plan stage. So we are recommending that we change that to a square footage basis. It will reduce the amount of parking that would be required for industrial, but not, and again, in our analysis, we'd still have plenty. I mentioned lodging. We're recommending we reduce the standard from 1.2 parking spaces per room to one space per room, and then also have a space for a manager on the facility. That standard is something that all the hotels have asked for, and actually we've got a number of hotels that we've reviewed outside of town Madison. They've all requested the same standard and said this is what they're experiencing across the country. For our medical facilities that are not office, like a hospital, for example, we're recommending that we streamline to one space per 500 square feet. We've got a couple of different standards for these kinds of facilities in our zoning ordinance right now. We think the 1 per 500 is adequate. For office, and we would lump doctor's offices into that, our current standard is 1 per 200 for some offices. For medical office, we're recommending a 1 per 300. So it'd be less parking that would be the minimum required. Again, they can always choose to put in more parking. They know their business, but we do have some maximums that we're recommending. For religious assembly, we're not making any recommended changes in our minimums. We do put in a maximum there, very generous. Not making any changes for single-family parking requirements. For multifamily parking, we are recommending we streamline to one space per unit plus a half space for guest parking. Currently, in our zoning ordinance, we do not have any requirement for guest parking for multifamily projects. The parking is on a per-bedroom basis. So if you look at it as on an overall basis, if you will, we require about 1.75 spaces in a project. This standard would be 1.5. And it was just we're allocating more for guests. It doesn't necessarily have to be labeled on the parking lot as guest parking, but we're just wanting them to build in that. For restaurants, we currently require one space for every 100 square feet for our fast food restaurants, and we're just recommending that standard for all of our restaurants, which would reduce the amount of parking that our restaurants would need to provide. Again, at a minimum, they could put in more if they wanted to. And then for retail, we're recommending that we streamline that to one space for every 300 square feet. And on that point, I would note that we have a number of locations in the city that are non-conforming with our current standards. They were built, let's say, before 1999, before these standards were in place. So some of these standards, such as retail, are going to relax the requirement, and it's going to render a project that's currently non-conforming to be conforming. So that's a positive. And, okay, maybe that was my last one. In your packet that you all received, you've got our draft standards. And when the Planning Commission reviewed these, they did support them. They did have two changes. One was to the amount of parking that was required for daycare facilities, and the other change was to elementary schools, K through 8 schools, actually. So our consultant had recommended one space for every classroom and one space for every daycare room. And the Planning Commission is recommending 2 spaces for each of those, and we're supportive of that, and that was the language that was in the ordinance that was published in the paper. So the Planning Commission does recommend approval of this, as do we. We did not have anybody speak at the Planning Commission public hearing on this item, and happy to answer any questions before or after the public hearing.
All right, with that, I'd like to open the public hearing. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mike Sheehy. 2 words, Chick-fil-A. Now, when you look at the accommodations for a restaurant and stuff, they're actually pretty generous, but I'll talk a little bit later to the fact that this is a driving community. We're not yet a walking community. I almost ran over somebody trying to get to Hughes Road coming here today, so I really actually appreciate what you guys are doing to sidewalks and things. We'll get there at some point, but we are a driving community, whether it's driving to Redstone, Arsenal, Huntsville, Trash Pandas, whatever it may be, we're a driving community. And I'll come back to a point on that a little later. I appreciate that Mary Beth brought up, what's the problem in Madison that we're trying to fix? We're not addressing a problem, but we are looking ahead. That's a good thing. This is a good initiative. I would submit that it's not quite ready yet. We invested deliberate effort to establish parking space standards before. I would ask what's changed that makes this necessary at this moment. Again, looking ahead, I can accept that. That's good. But what objective metrics are we using? Our metro area doesn't offer rail and mass transit options that other suburbs have that have a 1-to-5 ratio, a 1.5 to 1 ratio for housing units, for example, for apartments and things like that. So we're offering something comparable to communities that have the exact same ratios of parking spaces for a dwelling unit, but they've got mass transit available to them to walk. And again, we're not a walking community yet. In one example, we're changing what's currently the minimum standard for example, a 3-bedroom apartment. We're taking what's currently the minimum standard and we're making it the maximum standard. So I'll kind of walk you through that in an example right here. Right now we have 2.5 spaces per unit, but we're proposing just 1 single space for a 3-bedroom apartment. Now, granted, that averages out. It's going to average out with 1-bedroom apartments, 2-bedroom apartments, 3-bedroom apartments, 4-bedroom apartments. 5-bedroom apartments, you get 1 space. That's just unrealistic. And we can say, well, then on average, okay, let's take a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and 3-bedroom apartment. That would give us 3 spaces. How many people think that we're only going to have 3 cars for 3 separate apartments and 6 total rooms? It's just unrealistic. There are other considerations, too, that are impacting even our commercial practices. My kids go to a Taekwondo school that wouldn't be within the new standard. Nail salons, educational learning facilities, things like that. We haven't really factored those in. We've had more discrete options before. We don't really have those now. There are benefits to space management. That's why we have an ordinance now. But this proposal I would offer runs as it's currently scripted. I really appreciate the initiative. As it's currently scripted, I would offer that it runs counter to our quality of life for what we want in our community. We want people to have parking spaces. We want walkable communities. But right now we're driving community, and that's where our businesses are. We're a commuting community. So it doesn't meet the quality of life standards that Madison residents aspire to, and it doesn't meet our actual needs. And I just gave an example of that with apartments. I would also ask, what are we going to replace this standard with? If we're giving up parking spaces for our units, what are we getting in return? Are we going to impose an additional green space standard? I would ask that we consider things like that. Or are we just going to allow us to further encroach on sidewalks and things like that? We're going to give up something that's good for good reason, but let's give it up for a better reason. So again, I think the proposal is unrealistic. There's a saying that if it ain't broke, either improve it or don't fix it. I would argue that it's not broken right now, but there is room for some improvement. The proposal may touch on some valid considerations, but in large, it's not based on data. And this is shown somewhat in the changes that Mary Beth just presented, going from 1 to 2, which is a positive change from the Planning Commission, but it was subjective. A lot of the numbers that we're relying on are subjective, and there are some good numbers like the 1.5 to 1 ratio that I mentioned earlier, but a lot of this is actually subjective or arbitrary and capricious. And I think we need to look at studies for what we actually need here in Madison. So if we're going to fix what ain't broke, let's actually improve on it. And I think this has some room for further improvement. So I would ask you to consider that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else like to address Mayor and Council? If not, we'll close the public hearing. Do it.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion to second. Discussion?
I was just going to ask, can you email that to us, the PowerPoint presentation? And what happens to businesses that are currently not conforming? Are they grandfathered in? How does that work?
Well, yeah, any existing business is grandfathered in.
Okay.
Again, our very purposeful intent with this was to not render businesses non-conforming.
Right.
And we don't think, I mean, there may be one of, you know, the 1,000 of businesses in Madison that we've missed, but, that's certainly not our intent. More often than not, you know, we'll see a business that wants to do a slight remodel, and they may be off on parking just a little bit. But, you know, and anecdotally, you know, we can observe what their parking lot is. We can, see that may be empty, but yet the standard is what the standard is. And these standards, from 1999, a lot of them are just really out of sync with good planning practice. And while we're not an urban area or we don't have metro, these standards weren't assuming that that was the case. We're very clear of what Madison is and the fact that it's still very auto-oriented. Our planning consultants work across the country. They're very familiar with Madison, and, you know, there was nothing arbitrary about the standards they were recommending. So we think that the standards make sense for the city. And I just wanted to briefly touch on Mr. Shee's comment about Chick-fil-A. Again, as I mentioned, we do have recommended maximums. We do not have a recommended maximum for a restaurant. You know, we respect the fact that businesses know their business. Chick-fil-A is going to have X number of parking spaces. We all would like them to actually build on bigger pieces of property and put more parking on their property. But we're not capping how many parking spaces a restaurant could have because we understand that variability with restaurants. Some restaurants have more of a takeout business. Some have more of a sit-down. And so this standard reflects that.
I think my concern is right now we're at 60,000 people. We're projected to be at 75,000 people. How is that going to affect Applebee's and Jack's across the street? Have we taken that into consideration, how we're growing by 10 to 15,000 people in the next maybe 10 to 15 years?
Sure. Well, every restaurant has a certain capacity. So while the city may add another 10,000 people, Applebee's is Applebee's, and it's got that seating capacity, it's got that wait staff. And so what we hope with that growth in population is we're going to have more restaurants, right? And so that population is dispersed among other places of business. So it's not like everybody's going to congregate
go to one place,
Applebee's.
right?
Exactly
Very good.
Right.
At least until Whataburger opens, then everybody's going.
That may be the case, and good for them as well, certainly. The other comment I will make is, you know, our current zoning ordinance has a variety of categories, right, where it's breaking out lots of different uses. The trend in planning across the country has been to streamline that and to not differentiate, because you cannot anticipate every single use, right? The market changes quite a bit. Who would have known about hookah lounges or, you know, I don't know, you name it, right? And so zoning ordinances can't, you're like, what's a hookah lounge? So, exactly. So zoning ordinances, in an attempt to not try and list every single use, try to come up with broad categories, so retail, office, and not try to list all the different kinds. And there tends to be a lot of parallels between the way some of these businesses operate. So again, the goal is to kind of streamline categories rather than try to list every single category possible. So that's the thought process behind this.
Thank you.
My concern is with the multifamily residential apartments. I tend to agree with Mr. Sheehy that if you have a 3-bedroom apartment, you could very well have 3 cars.
It's possible. And you also can have a 2-bedroom apartment with 1 car because somebody's using one of the bedrooms as an office. And the trend that we're seeing with all of the apartment projects that have been approved in the last couple of years is, I would say 15% or less 3 bedrooms. Most of them are predominantly 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms. Some have a lot of studios. So we certainly hear that and understand that. And again, we think that this standard will work. We also have set it as a minimum. I don't know any apartment developer that is going to underpark their property because then they're not going to be able to lease the property. And if anything, these parking maximums are really very generous because, again, we're not an an urban metro with rail kind of a city. If we were, the maximums would be a lot less. So, it is not uncommon, and even if you look in the Planning Commission staff report, for what our existing code requires, we've got developers who are putting in more than what our existing code requires. Because again, they understand what their tenants are going to want. So, practically speaking, we do not think we are building in a problem with this zone change.
So these are minimum requirements.
Yes, sir.
And so if I'm an apartment builder, I might be looking to build a lot of one-bedrooms, which, when we think about from a school standpoint, might actually help in some ways. Probably not having a lot of people with lots of kids in a one-bedroom.
Which I also tend to agree with. You know, I'm not a fan of apartments at all. I'm not gonna act like I am, so if we can reduce the parking, it does keep us away from the, certainly, I haven't seen any 4 or 5 bedroom apartments, but, certainly keeps us away from that and possibly even the 3s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we certainly as staff do not want to build any kind of parking problem into the community at all. We do think these standards are reasonable and responsible in that regard.
I too am concerned with apartments, simply because now the cost of housing is so high.
Mm-hmm.
It's cheaper to have 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom and have 2 different tenants than it is for each of them to have a separate place. And so that number does concern me. I would rather see it, to be 2.
Well, I think that,
They can add more. This is just,
excuse me, they can add more.
They can add
So,
more.
I mean, it's the minimums and
it's their
maximums
decision on
very
how many
generous.
how many they wanna put. Like, they're gonna know their client better than we are. I mean,
We're
and
allowing.
if you don't want more, you can go less. If you need more, you can add as many as you want.
So the parking standard is allowing them to put in 3 parking spaces for each unit if they would like to.
If they would like to. And I do understand that. I think I'm looking at the cost of what it is to build a parking lot now, and it is a lot more. And would you just put in the minimum at this point, thinking, okay, we're good, and that sort of thing, and not really look at the influx of people that want to double up in an apartment?
Understand, and again, when we looked at all of the recent, or not all, but a number of the recently approved apartment projects with our current standard, right? All of those projects put in more parking than was required under our current standard. In other words, the apartment projects understand what their tenants are going to need, and so they're going to build that, because if they don't build enough, then they're not going to be able to lease. So we are recommending reducing that standard, but again, we would expect those developers to build more parking. This is giving a little bit more flexibility for those projects that may be predominantly studio and 1-bedroom units. But we don't think that, I haven't met one single apartment developer who is coming in and saying, I want to build less units than what your code requires. That's not how apartment developers think about parking. That's how hotel developers think.
Units, just less parking lots.
Pardon?
Less parking lot, not less units.
Or, yeah, they're not wanting to build less parking for those units. That's not how an apartment developer thinks. The cost of that surface lot, I mean, the land is something, but the cost to actually build the parking versus building those units is nominal.
I guess maybe I'm misunderstanding things. Why are we trying to encourage them to park more people? I mean, you're making a minimum here, and they can't, so we don't want them parking a lot of people. You should be concerned about the intersection.
If you're gonna do anything, it's safety.
Yeah.
And one thing, if I go back to the area, the 2 that I would look at, something that was built in the county and then brought in. Chicken Salad Chick is a perfect example of something that, to me, parking may not be adequate and it's not safe in some instances. And then Phase 3 was the one that, I mean, for goodness sakes, they built it and it fills up in January and February. By March, it starts coming back down. They looked, analyzed, and it's always right at the brink of what it could be, and then it's brought right back down to what it needs to be. So they know their clientele.
Terramay is another great example. That parking lot on Madison Boulevard, Terramay is full until they close, right? From when they open until they close. And it's fascinating, because I go by it every day. That part of their parking lot that is for their business is utilized fully, but they're not spreading out into the other parking lot that they built for their other two tenants. Again, it's a great example of somebody who really understands their business, knows how much parking they're going to need. So, we have a lot of standards, and we work, obviously, we want all of the businesses to comply, but we also have a lot of respect for people who run their businesses and know what those business needs are. We want people to be successful in running their businesses in Madison, and so part of how we do that is building in this flexibility, having a minimum, but establishing a generous maximum. And really, we got recommendations from our consultant, and then we sat as staff and looked at all of these, and we made changes before it even went to the Planning Commission to make sure it rang true for what we see on the ground.
For me, I don't have a concern with most of what you've presented. It is the multifamily residential that does raise some concerns. First, in listening to your presentation, if most of the multifamily units are building more parking than you required, why are we dropping the standard? I mean, it seems like if that's the evidence of what's happening, people need more parking, and you're trying to trust them to make the best decision, but you can't back out of this. Once we start this path and you have, and I'm just thinking about when my husband and I first got an apartment after we were married, and we both drove. We were both professionals, but we afforded a very small apartment. We both had cars, and we both had to drive to work. I could see this benefiting a developer that wants to pack in more density. But when you're trying to find housing, as Councilmember Denzine has pointed out, and housing is at a premium, you might be willing, and you're not going to investigate, do you have adequate parking? You're going to try to get a house or an apartment or someplace to get here. And then here you've got all these cars parked on the street because you don't have adequate parking. I would be very concerned at this time in particular, because people are going to get housing wherever they can find it, probably in the next 3 years.
So the overall standard right now, if you looked at a project with different bedroom counts, is 1.75. We would basically be bringing the overall standard down to 1.5, which isn't a significant change in our view, going from a 1.75 down to a 1.5. We currently do not have any kind of guest parking requirement, and so what our approach was on this is, rather than basing the breaking out all the parking requirements by each type of bedroom, is to add in the guest parking requirement. Basically, it's we're still maintaining an overall standard that's relatively close to what the existing one is, but providing, I guess that I'll say flexibility in terms of guest parking, making sure that it's included where it's included, and in recognition of the fact that almost all the projects that have been coming in have been studio and one bedroom, some two. Some of the times they're kind of split between 1 and 2s, but almost no 3-bedroom units and relatively few 2-bedroom units.
Well, even a 1-bedroom unit could have, like she said, 2 drivers.
It certainly could. I mean, there, it's, there are houses that are 3- and 4-bedroom houses with empty nesters that, maybe have 2 cars, or some that have 1 car. It runs the gamut. There's lots of different scenarios that we see.
Yeah, and I have a 3-bedroom and 4 cars.
Yeah. So, I mean, we wouldn't see that in one of these new apartment projects that have been built, but yeah, I mean, it does. It's hard to, there's a lot of different scenarios, I guess, that we can envision.
I think the key is that this developer will do enough studying of the market and the project to have enough parking spaces for his tenants. I really believe that.
So just to present you with an option, I don't know how many of you have qualms with the standard, but just procedurally, the way this works, if council was not prepared to take action on this, or let's say you wanted a standard changed, then we could certainly take that, study it. We'd have to re-advertise the ordinance, which is fine. I mean, we can do that. We would just have to continue the meeting until, once we could republish the ordinance, because you can't act on the ordinance and make a change tonight and have it go into effect. We'd have to re-advertise it.
Would we want to discuss this at a June work session?
Guys, I mean,
A lot of speculation.
we're literally arguing over 25 parking spots for a 100-unit place. And, you know, I mean, I understand everyone's point, agree or disagree, but, you know, we're parking now at 1999 standards. And I can tell you, we were a lot smaller city in 1999. I mean, so, you know, it's progress. Why would we not make progress? And again, I would encourage us more to have less apartments. I mean, I think that's what we're looking for.
I would agree with that.
I mean, so if these guys don't, you know, do their parking correctly, then I can tell you, people won't move in there. I mean, my daughter's in an apartment now in Huntsville, and there's not enough parking spots. She gets there late at night, she has to park further out, and she has to walk further. She's moving.
Yeah. That's where I keep coming back to at the end of this is, I'm not smarter than the economy. I'm not smarter than the average bear. I'm gonna let these developers, you know, and folks that is their job, is to make these business cases and figure out what works. And if it doesn't work, well, then guess what? They shut down, somebody else comes in.
That's right.
And that can either better utilize the area or not, so.
They're the experts.
But again, this is the minimum, this is not the max. So this is just changing the minimum and then give them more flexibility. And to add more, they add more.
How often are these standards reviewed?
Well, the last time was in 1999.
Yes, I understand that, but what is the best
So,
practice?
Well, it really runs the gamut. You know, some of it's if the industry is changing. Oftentimes when cities finish a comp plan, then they will take a look at their zoning ordinance and they'll look to see if there were goals identified in the comp plan that they could somehow forward with changes to the zoning ordinance. We had hoped to have this zoning ordinance all completed about a year and a half ago. And we've just gotten to the point where we've just had a number of economic development projects, not apartment projects, that, you know, have just been frustrated beyond belief with our current standards. And we just decided to move it out because we don't want to lose projects because of that. And so I guess thinking forward as the city finishes the Madison comp plan, you know, it may be an opportunity to look at zoning standards. I don't know that we necessarily look at parking in relationship to that, but it certainly could be evaluated. And I mean, the good thing about standards is they can be changed, right? There's a process we go through. If something's not working, we, you know, change it. We're not foreseeing that with this, but, you know, it's very dynamic, right? The development world's very dynamic. They're very creative in terms of what they come up with. Uses are changing all of the time, and so it does get modified. So could be a year and a half after the comp plan. It could be 2 years. Kind of depends.
I worry because if we set a minimum, there will eventually be a developer who comes in and puts in the minimum, eventually, whether it's good business or not. So if we, you know, then we have people in the street, you know, parking on the street, and it's one of those things, can a fire truck fit through? Yes, it should be able to fit through, but.
Well, I know everybody in my department, including myself, is doing our darndest to not have any more multifamily projects come through.
I understand.
But
I appreciate.
I've had that conversation 3 times already today with different people. So, I mean, it's possible somebody could come in and propose the bare minimum,
They'd only be hurting themselves if they did that. And I think this sends a message that one bedroom won't have kids in the school, and that might be the greater quantity in any future multi-use development.
Well, I would also say too, I mean, if we're trying to prevent people from parking on the street, I mean, I drive through my neighborhood and I got freaking driveways like empty and cars on the street, and it's not illegal. So, I mean, I'm all about, hey, let's get cars off the street, but, I mean, if it's not illegal, it's not illegal. And, I mean, if you got empty driveways and people on the streets, I don't know how you're gonna prevent it by just changing the amount of parking spaces. I mean, I hear you, and I'd love to look at safety from that standpoint, but, I mean, I don't know how you're gonna prevent it in any case.
May I just suggest, since there is still concern and there is still dialogue going on, could we just put it off? I mean, are there any businesses that are just not gonna come here if we just delay it a bit?
I think we vote. I think we vote on it.
I mean,
A quarter of a
I do have a
parking
hotel
place.
project that is hoping desperately for this standard to get approved tonight. And I can tell them, you know, I mean, it's just what it is. I've got multiple businesses that I'm working with, and we've not guaranteed them this at all. But they are very much relying, the hotels in particular, on our standard dropping.
Okay, well, that's good information to know.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't have any trouble with the hotels, the commercial. I understand the accommodations you're trying to make.
Yeah.
I don't understand the timing on the multifamily. And what we're creating is a possible situation, just like what Teddy just described, where you're gonna have a builder build something that's dense and you don't have adequate parking.
But what happens is those people move out of those apartments.
And then you have abandoned apartments.
No, you have less people in those apartments.
So a couple of options for you. You can,
We just vote.
yes, but I was going to say, if
Vote.
you wanna
Vote it
act,
down with all the effort that you guys have put into it, with listening to the clientele who are trying to get here, tell you what they're needed, and and then using data versus feeling, I'd really like to vote.
Go ahead, Mary Beth.
thank you. I was just gonna say that if you are inclined to take action on this ordinance this evening so that we can get the standards you like in place, we can always come back with an amendment on the multifamily piece and we can do that relatively soon, if you would like, or at least we can study it and report back to you on that. I'm happy to do that.
I'm fine with doing that as we're doing our, comprehensive plan. We can
We could even
just a
do it-
review at that point to see where we are.
Sure.
Okay.
And we can do it in advance of that, if you would like. Happy to do a little bit more study on that.
But, I mean, that's the only piece that is causing me heartburn.
Understand.
Same for me.
And I do appreciate all of the work that y'all have gone through. It is obvious you have taken time, but this one area is a concern.
Okay. So as I understand it, should you take action to approve this evening, we will take a look at the multifamily. We'll report back to you in some fashion
After the comprehensive plan.
at some point in the next year and a half, if not sooner, right?
Can you
Maybe
get to it
before the next apartment complex gets built. How about that?
Yeah.
I can tell you any projects in that regard that are looking at our existing standards. We have not promoted these standards with any project that might be contemplated in a residential nature.
Okay.
Very good.
Can we get the vote, please?
Councilmember Seifert,
Aye.
Councilmember Powell,
Aye.
Council President Shaw,
Aye.
Councilmember Roblesky,
Aye.
Councilmember Spears,
Aye.
Councilmember Bartlett,
Aye.
Councilmember Denzine.
And motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Beth.
Thank you, Mary Beth.
Engineering.
Good evening. I've got 3 items here for you. Number 1 is resolution number 2022-121R. This is a change order number 1 for middle school roadway extension projects in the amount of $624,000 $897.76 to be paid from Neighborhood Street Repaving Fund.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I got,
Go ahead.
just a question, so I know the neighborhood street repaving, obviously, we use that for the neighborhood streets. How does this affect that budget? Does it adversely affect it at all, or that?
I think it's a
plan?
great question, and I think we caught a couple of folks by surprise, including Kent. We have 4 months left after, right now, in the budget. We have basically all of the neighborhood paving still in there, and of course, we have what was in there from last year that we didn't get done. So in talking with Roger, he felt like the ideal place to take it from short-term is there in this year's budget. We by no means plan on not doing any of the paving that we talked about. Were Kent to get them in and start nailing it left and right, we would come back to you guys to add money back into neighborhood paving. But right now, we feel like by the time we get to the end, and this is Roger only asking us to use it, we can use this money, and then we will reappropriate the money at the end of next year for that. So it would not take away from what will get done through neighborhood paving, but it may take some of that money out of neighborhood paving to pay for this.
Okay, thank you.
That was my same question.
I've got one, I've only been here 2 years, so I don't have the
Neither me.
experience, and I know you're new too, but I've never seen a change order this large or at this percentage. So I have to ask, what are we doing to make sure we don't ever have a change order that is this large or this percentage moving forward?
Yes, ma'am. So there are some indicators that this sort of thing could possibly, be revealed in the design process, flood maps, soil surveys that are online. We can do some exploratory geotechnical if we're seeing some of those, indicators, out, but also, once the contractors get in the field, they can also do some of those exploratory, test pits and that kind of thing. So we will definitely do a better job going forward, especially with having outside consultants do designs, that kind of thing. We'll make sure that they get all that vetted.
I think in a more detailed piece of that is had we done, I say soil samples all the way through, we probably would have covered this up front. Is that safe to say?
We would have known about it. We would still be spending, I mean,
The money would still be there, but we would have known about it up front.
Right.
And we didn't have that opportunity, and so in this case, we're finding about it once they get to that farthest southern section. So I feel like as we go through the bid process, which I think the legal department's done a good job of, one thing that we've talked about with Michael and Michelle is, let's make sure that we don't miss any of those steps as we get ready to then bring something to you guys. Let's make sure that we've done everything we possibly can. And so I can tell you from an operational standpoint, we have to take responsibility for doing everything we can to make sure that when we give you a number, it's a good number.
Right.
And I think we can improve on that, and this is a perfect area that shows that that's one of the areas we could do it on.
Yeah, Megan's added a checkbox to the form that gets sent out for all bid forms. So this is gonna be something that's brought up on every project. Even if it's one that we don't necessarily foresee this being a problem on, it'll be something that at least gets discussed.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
Can I get the vote, please?
Councilmember Powell,
Aye.
Councilmember Spears,
Aye.
Council President Shaw,
Aye.
Councilmember Robleski,
Aye.
Councilmember Bartlett,
Aye.
Councilmember Denzine,
Aye.
Councilmember Seifert.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, item number 2 is resolution number 2022-148R. It's acceptance of Moore Creek Phase 5A into the city's maintenance program.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
There's a question that's always asked.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's initiate you into this. So one of the things that we heard when each of us have come into office is, well, developers build it and they just don't do what they said that they were going to do. So for the city to accept anything into maintenance, there's all the checklists that have to be met to accomplish that. So typically the easiest thing we say, have all of those been met, and are you guys comfortable taking it in? They've done what they said that they would do.
Yes.
Perfect.
And it is your first time here, so really,
Really wish they'd have made that one number one. The first thing I have to do in front of you guys is ask for $625,000.
You got the hard one out of the way.
everything
Good
after
job,
that
hey,
should
good
be
job,
easy.
Michelle.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can thank Michelle for that, or Megan, I'm not sure.
I think it is critical when we ask that question that we do make sure that we go back and monitor that and do ask as a developer hands that off for the city to maintain that it's done correctly. So it is important that we make sure that's done. We will make sure we ask that every time it's brought in.
Can I get the vote, please?
Councilmember Seifert,
Aye.
Councilmember Powell,
Aye.
Council President Shaw,
Aye.
Councilmember Robleski,
Aye.
Councilmember Spears,
Aye.
Councilmember Bartlett,
Aye.
Councilmember Denzine.
Motion passes.
All right, item number 3 is resolution number 2022-155R, approving agreement with To The Point for surveying services. It's $5,200 to be paid from department budget.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Looks like that one would have been the first one, been a lot easier,
That
but
one was really easy, right?
Can I get the vote, please?
Councilmember Seifert,
Aye.
Councilmember Spears,
Aye.
Council President Shaw,
Aye.
Councilmember Robleski,
Aye.
Councilmember Powell,
aye.
Councilmember Bartlett,
Aye.
Councilmember Denzine.
And motion passes. Thank you so much.
You guys, anything else from me?
Good.
We're glad you're here.
Thanks so much.
Yes, very glad you're here. Very,
Thank y'all.
very glad.
Obviously, he's not scared to ask
Yes,
for
she
money.
has.
No.
She has. Thank you both.
Yes, sir.
Good morning.
So,
Has it been, have we been here that long?
Feels like morning. Feels like morning.
Time for breakfast.
Yes. Can I ask for your approval of resolution number 2022-145R, approving purchase of fire department uniforms from NAFCO Incorporated through the BuyBoard National Purchasing Co-op. As you know, the co-ops allow us discounts for all of our uniforms.
Move to approve?
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Can I get the vote, please?
Councilmember Robleski,
Aye.
Councilmember Powell,
Aye.
Council President Shaw,
Aye.
Councilmember Spears,
Aye.
Councilmember Bartlett,
Aye.
Councilmember Denzine.
Aye.
Councilmember Seifert.
Aye. Motion passes.
thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Look at there. Morning.
Good evening. So ours is, resolution number 2022-144R. Instead of going through NAFCO, we're gonna go with, go through GALS, again, on a national BuyBoard program. 15% discount. It's essentially going direct to vendor. We've got our own account with them where our officers can go into their own account page and order the uniforms directly through there. They come with the patches sewn on and everything. So as soon as they get them, they're ready to go and wear.
Move to approve?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Can I get the vote, please?
Councilmember Robleski,
Aye.
Councilmember Powell,
Aye.
Council President Shaw,
Aye.
Councilmember Spears,
Aye.
Councilmember Bartlett,
Aye.
Councilmember Denzine.
Thanks.
Aye. Councilmember Seifert.
Aye. And motion passes.
The good thing about this is that we're gonna be buying a lot of uniforms. We're gonna be up to full staff here in about.
Wonderful.
That'd be
That's
great.
fabulous news. Thank you
Fantastic.
so
Thanks a
much,
lot.
Chief. Wow, that's great.
My
Hey,
favorite
Beth, if
person.
all 5 of these are as long as this one.
See, as long as y'all make them,
Okay.
Here you
Me.
go.
fair enough.
Let's go.
All right. The first one is ordinance 2022-147, and this is for vacation of utility and drainage easement, and an ingress and egress easement in town Madison. This is just a first reading, so we're not asking for your action this evening. But this is at the corner of Ziert Road and Town Madison Boulevard, and this is where the Starbucks will be going. And so it's just some cleanup on easements. And so we'll be back at your next meeting asking you to approve this.
Which one are you trying to do then?
The red one is the ingress and egress easement that needs to be removed, and the green one is partially a utility and drainage easement. So both of them are being vacated.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Your next item is ordinance 2022-127. This is for vacation of a utility and drainage easement located within the Greenbrier Hills subdivision. And you've seen these before. We are asking for your action this evening. So as the subdivision is developing out, this old utility and drainage easement is no longer needed because the subdivision's been redesigning it and accommodating it elsewhere. So we are asking for your approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Is there any discussion? May I get your vote, please?
Councilmember Spears,
Aye.
Councilmember Powell,
Aye.
Council President Shaw,
Aye.
Councilmember Roblesky,
Aye.
Councilmember Bartlett, Councilmember Denzine,
Ah.
Councilmember Seifert.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you. Your next item is Resolution 2022-150-R, and this is to authorize an amendment to an agreement between the city and the school district or the Board of Education. And this is related to the middle school infrastructure project that you were talking about earlier. So this agreement memorializes our change in our completion date. We expect that the project will be completed around October, maybe November, but this agreement gives us until December 1, and then it just changes the fact that the school district would not be doing its final payment until we're finished. And so we're asking for your approval. This change has also been presented through the school board's attorney to the board.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion?
So just to verify, Mary Beth, it doesn't change the amount that the schools will be paying. It's simply because of the delay in both the road and the middle school, it changes the date in which they'll pay those. Because the payments were tied together to a delivery date, and both of those have changed now.
That's correct.
Same amount, different date.
Yes.
Okay.
Can I get the vote, please?
Councilmember Spears,
Aye.
Councilmember Powell,
Aye.
Council President Shaw,
Aye.
Councilmember Roblesky,
Aye.
Councilmember Bartlett,
Aye.
Councilmember Denzine,
Ah.
Councilmember Seifert.
Aye. Motion passes.
Your next two items are follow-up actions to actions by the Zoning Board of Adjustment and Appeals, and so I'll go over each of those. This one is for resolution number 2022-152-R. This is to approve a landscape and buffer agreement with Dr. Patrick Gorman, who owns the Madison Veterinary Hospital. The principal address for that is 1605 Hughes Road. It's right there at the corner of Hughes Road and Roma Road. And so the vet hospital acquired the two residential properties directly to the east at 174 and 180 Roma Road. There were improvements that were done in the city's right-of-way, basically installing parking in our right-of-way without city approvals. Long story short, through code enforcement action, the vet hospital has come up with a remedy. It went to the Zoning Board of Adjustment Appeals, and they approved a variance, and that variance was approved in March of this year. And what that would allow is for some of their landscape buffer, which you can see right here is the landscape buffer. And I'll just show right here is the landscape buffer. So the code requires that there be a 20-foot landscape, 20-foot wide landscape buffer on private property. They can't fit it. So what the zoning board allows them to do is have 4.32 feet on their private property and then 15.67 feet in the public right-of-way. This is something that staff looked at, including engineering, planning, and so forth. There's adequate room there in Roma. And in fact, this area here that's in our public right-of-way is all landscaped. So this landscaping would just continue what's already in the city public right-of-way. So this is landscaped and it would continue over here. This area that's in our city right-of-way currently that's landscaped is just turf. What the vet hospital would be doing was be planting some additional vegetation besides just sod, and they're removing the parking out of the public right-of-way, which will improve the safety of the situation. So again, the zoning board's action was to approve the variance, but require that the city agree to allow the landscaping to go in the right-of-way. Our agreement allows us to remove that landscaping should there be a need, let's say for road improvements, utility improvements, that type of thing. If we were to remove it and it had to be permanently removed, then the applicant would end up having to figure something else out, probably remove the parking in the front, put landscaping there, and put the parking in the back of the property, which is doable. But this is sort of a middle ground that the zoning board, decided to approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Is there any discussion?
Just out of curiosity, what are they doing with the two houses there?
So they use the two houses for facilities related to, the veterinary
Okay.
operation.
Very good, thank you.
Can I get the vote, please?
Councilmember Seifert,
Aye.
Councilmember Powell,
Aye.
Council President Shaw,
Aye.
Councilmember Roblesky,
Aye.
Councilmember Spears,
Aye.
Councilmember Bartlett,
Aye.
Councilmember Denzine.
Motion passes.
Your next and last item is resolution number 2022-154-R, and this is also a landscape and buffer agreement. This one is with, Mrs. Mary Spears, who runs the State Farm Insurance Agency located at 155 Chestnut, which is just east of Waltriana. Very similar situation in which, in an effort to increase parking and improve the property for their business, they ended up putting concrete, all up to the front property line, where there's supposed to be landscaping. So through code enforcement action, and going through the zoning board of adjustment and appeals, the zoning board, decided to approve a variance, for this property. So this is our right-of-way right here. Originally, the applicant had paved in, all of this. They're basically going to put landscaping in this portion right here, which is required. But this area, the zoning board is allowing them to keep their parking, and so they would be installing, landscaping here in our public right-of-way, including some shrubs. So both of these agreements require them to maintain that landscaping, and again, the city, reserves the right, if it ever needed to remove that landscaping for any reason, it could be taken out, and then the property would have to find another way to comply.
Okay, move to approve.
Second?
Motion is
Or-
second.
Just a point of clarification, there's no relation between
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Spears and Miss Mary Spears.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any discussion?
Oh, I'm certain.
Can I get the vote, please?
Councilmember Spears,
Aye.
Councilmember Roblesky,
Aye.
Council President Shaw,
Aye.
Councilmember Powell,
Aye.
Councilmember Bartlett,
Aye.
Councilmember Denzine, Councilmember Seifert.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Any miscellaneous business or announcements? Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Moved.